I want to teach you the strategy that you should be aiming for. This is kind of what I call the North Star. When you do start doing these questions, the interview ones, your North Star is to do 3 questions in 50 minutes. And so it's one of each. Easy, one medium, one advanced.
Oh, okay.
The reason for that is because that's how the interview is going to be.
Right.
And what I recommend you do is you choose the same company. Meaning,
right.
Yeah, just make sure that if you do beginner Zoom, then move on to medium Zoom and then move on to advanced Zoom. Because if you're interviewing for Facebook, for example, they're going to give you 3 questions and it's going to be on top of the same data set. So it kind of saves you the in the first question that you're answering, the easy one, the one that you should be able to solve quickly, you're already kind of getting familiar with the data. And so the split should be somewhere between 10, 15, 25. And the reason it's 50 minutes because the last 10 minutes will be, for you to ask questions.
Right. I saw the video. So I noticed that it's important that you plan everything out and then ask like questions and then execute the code before, like create a pseudo code.
Exactly. Exactly. Like pseudocode, ask clarifying questions, and get to know the data sets. If you do those 3 things in the first 5 minutes, it saves you so much headache for the rest of the hour. And so, an easy question might take like 5 minutes, but just spending those extra 5 minutes here up front will potentially save you a lot of headache. And so, what I will say is do this, man, because I do want you to set up a mock interview either for next week or Monday. That way you kind of have 2 weekends to study. Maybe Monday, because I want you to have 2 weekends to study. So 2 Mondays from now, mock interview, and set it up in the nod. So let me see if you have access to his calendar. And let me give that to you. Yeah, you do. You'll see it in the nod calendar at the top of your Slack channel. To do that and let him know in the Slack channel. What I want you to do, though, between then is obviously keep doing the problems, right? Keep doing the FANG problems, keep doing the, going through the courses. That way you know everything. Feel free to record yourself trying this 3 questions in 50 minutes and speak out loud during that recording. So this can do 2 things. 1, it's going to start to build your muscle of speaking out loud. And 2, you can send us the recording. So between now and your mock interview, we can give you feedback during the recording. Does that make sense?
Like do 2 of them, right?
What do you mean 2 of them?
Like do 2 sets, like 1 set, like do like for 50 minutes, like 2 videos, and each video is 50 minutes, basically.
You can do how many ever sets you want, but basically answer the 3 questions in the 50 minutes time span.
Okay.
And so let me actually give you an example of someone who did this and did this well. And so you don't have to watch the recording or anything, but you can see how I just sent it to your thing. You can see how he like broke it down. Basically, he was doing Zoom. He did it on his own, right? So that way is preparation for the mock interview. But he like broke down like, okay, this was the beginner one. This is how long it took. I solved it. Here's my recording for it. And then he boom went on to the next one, etc. Right? So, you can kind of copy and paste the same template. But basically the idea is for both of us to be aware of like, okay, where's the bottleneck right now?
Okay. And I could make however many videos I want.
Yeah. Both for yourself. You can put it in the folder. You can send it to us. Yeah. No blocker there.
So it's a total of how many SQL mock interviews? About a total of 3, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's we don't limit you. So don't worry about like it being capped. But we definitely at least want to do 2, if not 3.
Right.
For people that are going like full transition mode, 3 is probably a good idea.
Yeah. 2 Mondays
Any
from
questions?
now. So 2 Mondays from now would be that would be the next. That'll be like the 6th.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
All right. All right.
So let's see. That's done. That's done. And I left comments for your resume, right?
Oh no, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let me make a note of that then. Good job just moving forward. Let me do that. Okay. Resume and BQ with you. Okay. Any other questions? Is there anything specific related to I guess related to SQL questions that I can answer right now?
Yeah. I don't know if this is like considered a good thing, but is it a good idea to like memorize like 20 to 25 like specific SQL questions? Because this is what I read on the internet that in order to really like it sounds counterintuitive, like in order to understand, you got to memorize first, and then after 1 or 2 days, it will just start clicking in your head. Because that's what I've kind of been experiencing. So at the beginning, I had no like, even though I knew how the group by function worked, it just didn't click, and I just memorized like the kind of like the backbone of problems that dealt with group by. But then after 2 3 days, it made sense.
I would do everybody learns differently. I don't think memorizing is the most efficient thing.
Yeah,
But I will say what you can do is like do a problem, and if you don't fully understand why that group by happened, go back to the mode tutorial for that group by section. So
right.
like use the documentation, try to understand why they're doing it. Do you know the limit 5 statement?
Yeah, the limit 5 is the well, not the top 5, but it depends how you order it.
Yeah. So doing the limit 5 statement is really helpful because then you can kind of see what the data set looks like, what it looks like after you do this statement, right, etc. Because remember, you want to understand them at a fundamental level so that when you do see a question you've never seen before, you can answer it there on the spot.
Right.
And so, memorizing it could be a little tricky in that respect. Have you watched this video?
The bonus build, I have seen it. Yeah, breaking up the question. I've seen it, only a part of it actually. I haven't really completed it.
That's kind of a question, like a method to really help you approach a problem, right? Breaking, like copying and pasting the question and then breaking up the question. I would use that methodology along with continuing to go back to these two things here. Because at the end of the day, there's a difference between knowing how to answer the question and knowing what a function does, right? And so, are you able to differentiate which one you're having trouble with right now?
Right.
So, which one would it be? Like, do
It
you know
would
what a
be
group by does, for example?
it would be both because there are times like where I look at the question and I don't know what it's actually asking me to do. And
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes very confusing.
And is that in the FANG problems or is that in the interview questions?
It's both.
Both.
But the FANG problems are like I mean, I'm not saying most of the questions I finished, like I had to look at the solution. It's just that it's like around maybe 50-50. Like 50% I complete on my own, the other 50% I kind of have to look at the solution.
And are you using the breaking up the question method?
Yes, so I do the two minus signs and then I create like pseudocode.
Okay.
I
You're copy and pasting the question, like you're copying and pasting and then going top 3 post.
well, I wouldn't copy paste it. I just write like the important takeaways from the question.
Mm-hmm. First thing on rows. Like that's how I would do it. Boom. Very quickly.
Yeah.
I was able to just get the 3 things I need to do.
Oh, how
I
do you
know
do
they,
that trick where you copy like you and then you add the make it into notes? How do you do that?
so on mine thing, it's like command backslash.
Oh, okay. Command
Or it's
backslash.
like window backslash, I guess, depending on what your keyboard looks like. I can send you a picture.
Oh, okay.
Um, because I actually
This
don't know
is
what the,
the top 3 most react. Is this from the which was it? This is in the Fang section or
yeah,
Fang
exactly.
problems? Oh, okay. Write a query to find which are the top 3 posts with the highest number of reactions from the first 3 months of 2023. So that's a lot. Yeah. So this basically, in order to solve this, how many, it's going to be a join 2 tables.
right, because they have post and reactions here. And so the
Right.
first thing I would do here is get to know the tables. Right. So
Right.
quick, like
And then
limit
do a
5.
limit 5.
Yeah, exactly. Get to know the tables, even though it's wrong or whatever. Boom, you get to know, okay, user ID content, blah, blah, blah. Post date. So they have post date. And obviously we have it here too. But for me specifically, I like to kind of visualize it a little better. And then you do that. The same thing with Reacts. And now you see the reaction date, blah, 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 right? And so now it becomes easier because you
Oh,
get
I
to
had trouble. Yeah, I actually had trouble with this problem initially because I joined the tables at the user IDs, not at the post IDs, because I didn't fully understand the question.
there you go. There you go.
Right.
And so when you see this, then you kind of start seeing, you kind of start
Yeah.
realizing, oh, wait a second. And this is why I prefer copying and pasting the question
Right.
and breaking it up as opposed to writing pseudocode. Because if you copy and paste it and just break it up, you're not going to miss this, right? And so
Right.
once you realize, oh, wait a second, the final output is these 2 columns, you realize, oh, wait a second, do I need user ID, right? It kind of like one thing you do right kind of helps you with the next step and the next step and the next step. And that's why I prefer copying and pasting.
Yeah. And going off of that, what we want to do is we want to select post ID, and we want to join at the post ID. So I noticed that you can use like different ways to connect it. So instead of doing p dot post ID is equal to f dot post ID, you can just do using the join using on post ID.
Yeah. Personally, I like join better. But yeah, you can use it.
For some reason, I use left join a lot because I'm kind of paranoid. Like, what if we're like missing something if I don't use left join? But it doesn't. As I started going, it does matter depending on what your
Yeah, it matters depending on the data set. That's why I like to do the limit 5 so I can see, oh, what kind of data am I dealing with? You're gonna use both 50% of the time. It really depends on the business context. And during a mock interview, it's a little easier because you get to ask the other person. It's like, oh, like, what do you think about this? Blah, blah, blah. And they'll probably like drop a hand, like, well, you might have to use. But just hearing you speak, I think you're doing better than you think. So do me this favor, man. If you're able to get this done within the next couple of days, just recording yourself doing one, would love to take a look.
Right. Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you send it, either me or Nanad can give you feedback.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. It sounds like you know a little more than you think. Right. Because again, I don't want you to, we're not looking for you to get the perfect answer just yet. We're just looking for you to really have a fundamental understanding of what's going on here.
Right. But yeah, there was also another SQL. Yeah, the advanced window functions. I did the tutorials for that, but then I remember doing it, but I have to like restudy those again because I remember I came across one problem in the beginner problems that dealt with that. And I also noticed that when I solved a lot of the questions, the solution is different from my actual SQL code. So like sometimes they're different.
Yeah, and that's gonna happen, right? You can write 2 different codes and get you the correct answer, the same correct answer.
Yeah.
I think it's best to learn both or kind of see like why they're different, why they're doing the same thing. But I think the more important thing there is do you understand the concept of window functions? like what they're
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
And so I know the syntax is a little hard to do it. Like this is a good example of like play around with it, like open the
Yeah.
editor, run this, then change this, run a select five, limit five on this, just to see what the table looks like. Order
Right.
it by something else, put a descend and ascend, right? Just keep going and really see like how it changes based on what's going on here.
Right. And yeah, I also learned like yeah, there's also like different window functions, and you could also, and like I think when I started progressing through the problems, I started learning about subqueries, so you can create like a with table one as you create your own little selection, and then you create another SQL code, and then you can keep doing that. And those are
Yeah,
called
there's
subqueries, right? Or
the
no, they're called something else.
subquery. Yeah, no, they are called subqueries. You could just do it in two different ways.
Right.
There should be a thing here, right? Oh, maybe not. Interesting. But yeah, you're right. Like there's two different ways to do it. You could do it with a with statement and do it like nested. They're called nested subqueries.
Right.
Um, so you kind of do parentheses around it. And so I wonder which way. Yeah, they don't need it here. But I would say get in the habit of doing with statements.
Yeah.
It's a lot cleaner because once you start doing like 5 to 10 with statements, it's just a lot cleaner to make blocks of it as opposed to doing like nested, 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 right? And it becomes a weird spider web. So definitely get in the habit of doing with.
Right.
Anything else?
Um, let's see. I don't have any other questions, but I think I have a
Perfect.
solid plan.
Yeah.
Uh,
Again, this is your North Star. Send me a recording. So I'm going to highlight that in green. That's your North Star. Send me a recording. Set up your mock interview with a nod, and I will go over these two things and knock it out of the way in the meantime.
right. All right, sounds good. And if I
Awesome.
have any like questions with the behavioral, because I noticed that with the behavioral, it was kind of challenging for me because like
Yeah.
I don't have that much experience, work experience, or I mean, most of my experience is just literally projects and classes, uh, or just
Yeah.
undergraduate research. So
And that's okay. I wouldn't worry about it too much. We can kind of work with what you have. People have come with less experience, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
yeah. All right. So
Are you
plan is,
putting
oh, I couldn't hear you.
one quick thing? Are you putting that you're currently based? That you're currently here?
As in, oh no, this is my internship, like where I did my,
No, sorry. Like where you currently are right now.
oh, currently, so I'm going back home literally tomorrow. So
Oh,
Edison, New Jersey.
where have you been for the past couple of months?
Oh, for the past couple of months, I've been in Rhode Island.
Got it. And how would you define that title?
Hmm.
Like how would you say it? Like you've been in the military, right?
Well, kind of, well, not really, but like
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what is your title in the military? And I want to
I
see
would
if we
say officer candidate, candidate officer,
how many
off,
months have you done that?
I would say candidate officer,
How many months?
about 3 months. So I signed the scholarship in May of 2022. But I graduated college, and from between June till October, I would call myself a candidate officer.
Do me a favor, add that because I think a lot of people estimate how much companies like something like that.
Right. I was talking to people like, and they said like, apparently I qualify as a recently separated veteran. It does actually, because like I've been in the system and I've been in
Yep.
that. So
Well,
that's what
that's
I,
what I was gonna say too. Like, you know how like when you do start applying, or when we start applying for you, it will be literally one of the boxes we check. Like, is he a veteran? Like, I think in that case, I think the answer is yes, right?
yeah,
And so,
and I'll definitely just talk to them tomorrow before I leave, just make sure it's
yeah,
it
and it
qualifies.
helps. It helps a lot because then you start competing against a smaller pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, just do me a favor, add that when you get a chance, and I'll leave you comments on both docs when I get a chance.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome, buddy. Well, thank you. Have a good weekend. Make sure to book the call, and then, like I said, Slack me 24/7.
All right, have a good day.
Bye bye.